Tell me what's going on.
So I bought a new computer for my 2014 Silverado. I was trying to do the relearn, and I don't think I know what to do. I thought it was just the battery. You had to undo it and then turn the key on and off and a bunch of other junk. But that wasn't working unless I'm doing it wrong. I'm getting crankshaft sensor relearn code, variation relearn code.
Hang on, back up. So you installed a new computer, and you said it starts and runs, or it does not start and run?
It does not start and run. You can turn the battery on, but that's it.
You can turn the ignition on, right?
Yes, sir.
And you can communicate with the computer, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then when you try to start it, does it crank over nice and strong, or does it not crank over at all?
It don't crank over at all. Crank, no nothing.
Is the security light on?
Just the engine light flashing.
It's flashing?
Yes, sir.
Did you program the ECM?
How would you do that?
Well, that would have to be done with a compatible scan tool that you'd have to basically write the latest software calibration here. Let me just pull it up real fast.
It says the one that I bought, it says it was...
The computer was already programmed?
Yes, sir.
And where'd you get it from?
Flagship?
So, if it was programmed, I suppose you might have to do a crank relearn, but it should crank over. Was it cranking before you replaced the computer?
Yes, sir.
So you only have the code in there for the crank relearn, is that correct? No other codes
Yes,
in the ECM?
I'll tell you what it says in a minute. Let me get this thing to work. It's, oh, wow. But now I got a UO 40171 code.
All right, let me take a look here. Why'd you replace the computer?
The truck wasn't, when it would get hot, it would just stop running altogether and then wouldn't crank up until the next day.
Okay. And was the computer communicating at that time?
I was still getting codes on it, but I was getting 20 different codes, and I replaced 3 parts that the codes were saying, and it wasn't relearning the throttle.
It looks like there's a technical service bulletin that was released by GM for multiple communication codes, including this this U0401 code. Looks like they got pictures in this wiring, in this TSB of the wiring. It looks to be on the kick panel on the floor, on the driver's side of the floor sill, right where you enter the vehicle. It looks like there's corroded wires. Whether that's it, we don't know, but what other codes are you getting right now?
That's it right now.
So you can communicate with the ECM, correct? It doesn't sound good.
Well, it's just been telling me 2 different things, but that's it. I had a bunch of codes, but now I'm not getting any of those codes anymore.
Were they U codes or are they P codes?
PO.
So you can read the live data on your scan tool, correct?
Yes, sir. Now I got nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
No codes at all.
No, there's no codes?
Yes, sir, no codes.
Can you do me a favor, turn that dinger off?
Oh, yes, sir, my bad.
No problem.
They sent me a, what do you call it? Let me go back to it. A key instruction for it, but it says it's for security.
And what did those instructions say?
Well, it says, I'm guessing on this truck I got a Passkey III. And Passkey III says, let me go back to it. Insert the master key with the blank head into the ignition switch. I did that. Turn the master key on. I did that too. Without cranking it. Security. I ain't getting no security light though. And it says wait 10 minutes. Do it again, 5 seconds, and then repeat 4 more times.
So you have a key, you don't have a push button?
I have a key, yes, sir.
Well, according to the diagram, the way it works is the ignition switch will send a signal over to the body control module.
Yes, sir.
And then the body control module will send a signal over to the engine control module. And then once the engine control module receives a crank request from the BCM, it will then activate that starter relay.
Yes, sir.
Can you communicate with the BCM?
How would I do that?
With your scan tool.
I got to turn the dinger back on. All right, I got it hooked up.
Does your scan tool, does it communicate with any other module except for the ECM?
I'm not sure. It's got an ABS, an M, an LDFF, DTC.
Does it give you the option to read the BCM?
I got main menu right here, global OB2, Chevy OEM, battery alternator, firmware, vehicle information, and tool library.
What type of scanner do you have?
Innova 3040.
All right, you can turn that ignition off. All right, Innova. I don't even know if this thing, I'm going to look on Amazon to see if this, I'm not very familiar with Innova, but.
I'm not either.
Let's see here. Check engine light. Hang on, bear with me here.
I know it's able to turn off the map sensor and everything else.
It's able to turn off the map sensor?
Yes, sir. You can go in here and change some stuff around, and you can turn it off, and it makes the truck run rough, or click it back on and make it run better.
I was actually it was funny you mentioned that. I was just on a phone call with somebody else that had another Innova scanner, and he was saying that it was like 5061 or 50 something, a little bit, I think one step up from this. And he said he was convinced that this thing was able to write an ECM program for this thing, and that's certainly outside of my wheelhouse, but I wasn't sure that. I've never heard of an Innova being able to do that, but you're kind of saying the same thing. At least you're able to do something with this Innova, but I'm not familiar with it. Let's see here. Full 10 modes and mode.
Started playing with it a couple days ago on the truck, and it did a few things, and I was like,
Full 10 modes and more. Innova 3040 RS code reader tool, get unparalleled access to global OBD2 functions. Scanner tool included for free. You got a battery test to save time. Live data. It doesn't say anything about BCM. Hang on. It says nothing about the BCM here, even on the listing on Amazon. I don't think that thing can read the BCM. So
I don't think so either.
It would be the only thing what you could do with this scan tool, even though we're at a disadvantage, you could see if you're getting a crank request coming into the ECM from the BCM. And then you could also see the state or status of the starter or the crank relay. In other words, it should say the position of the ignition switch, and it should say crank request yes or no, starter relay on or off or yes or no, or something like that. So that way we know where in the starting circuit the problem is. Is it with the ignition switch? Is it with the body control module? Is it with the engine control module? Or maybe the engine control module is sending out power, or in some cases it's a ground. It's going to be power in this case to the starter relay. The starter relay is clicking, but the power is not getting down to the starter. Although I don't think that's the case because it was starting just fine beforehand. But maybe there's a communication issue.
I'm pretty sure I got it hooked up right.
No, I know. I'm not saying you have it hooked up incorrectly. I'm saying maybe there's a communication problem with one of the computers on board the vehicle, and it's either affecting the ECM or the BCM, and we were not able to check the BCM at this time.
Yes, sir.
You're sure the fuses are good, right?
Yes, sir. I checked everything.
Okay. Well,
I took it to a mechanic shop. One guy told me the motor was blown up, which is a lie because Chevrolet got it cranked when I took it to their shop. Because it wouldn't crank. It died when I was going 60 one day. Wouldn't crank. The guy that I took it to originally told me computer was going out. He said he was going to throw in a computer for me, but he took 4 weeks and never did no work. So I got the truck back, took it to a different shop. They told me some lies. Chevrolet got it cranked up, but it's been dying. When I ran into him a couple days ago, he said just change the computer out and it should work.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll send over this TSB that I was talking about.
Yes, sir.
If we don't have, again, we're kind of limited because we don't have the right equipment, but what we can do is we can follow up on this code, and that's the UO401 code, and I'll send you this TSB, and that way you could at least look through this TSB and look for this problem on this vehicle to see if it matches up with this TSB or this problem, indicating that maybe this is what's going on. So,
well, I got a question for you. What kind of tool would I need to make it easier just to get it done?
What kind of tool would you need to get what done? To read the BCM?
To get the truck to reset everything where I can get it running.
Well, it's not as easy as just resetting everything. You can reset everything by disconnecting the battery cables from the battery and rubbing the cables together for 5 minutes.
You rub them together?
Disconnect the battery cables from the battery and you rub the cables together for 5 minutes. That is correct.
I didn't know that.
Now, that'll reboot everything, but if you don't fix the root cause, chances are it's going to happen again. Now, you can try the reboot. You might get lucky. Maybe we have a locked up module that is acting up intermittently once a week or once a month. So if
I thought when you reset it, you just undid the battery on the negative.
Say that again?
I said whenever I was doing research, I thought you just unhooked the negative terminal and left it off for a good 15 and then put it back on and it would reset everything.
All right, so I have this conversation all the time. All right, let me explain this real quick here for you.
Yes, sir.
For the most part, that would work. However, the engineers that built this vehicle and all other vehicles, Honda, Ford, GM, Chrysler, Toyota, Mercedes, they tell the technicians in the field to rub the cables together. So disconnect them from the battery and then rub the cables together for 5 minutes because that will discharge all the capacitors inside all of the modules on board the vehicle.
Makes sense.
If you don't rub them together, there could be residual electricity that's stored in the capacitors inside the modules, and that they completely won't power down and they won't completely reboot if you don't rub the cables together. So
if you're just doing the one, you're not really doing nothing.
Well, right. In some cases it'll work, in some cases it won't work. But to do it correctly, I would just do it the right way and rub the cables together once they're disconnected from the battery.
That makes sense. I appreciate it.
You can try that. If it doesn't work, I think we got a bad module. We got to figure out which computer is bad on board the vehicle. So that would be your next step.
Yes, sir.
So I'll let you work on that, my friend. Good luck. Let me know what you find.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.